Well, I was born in the spring of 1955, and then in the spring of 1974, I was
Praise
born
God.
again. And my heavenly Father was very patient with me through those years because I was a bad kid. I mean, I had good parents. I feel like my parents were decent people. They worked hard. They took care of business, but I was just bent toward darkness, even as a child. And I got arrested the first time when I was 10 years old for stealing a 22 revolver in a sporting goods store.
Okay.
And by the time I was 16, I was a felon.
Okay.
I stole my uncle's cancer pain medication to IV shoot because I could care less about him. All I cared about was me.
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't tell the truth. I couldn't keep my hands off of other people's stuff. Was a horrible friend, a huge disappointment to my parents. And why God pursued me, I have no idea. But
I like to call that the hound of heaven.
I'm telling you,
You know, every saint has got a background, and those are some things I didn't know about you. So that's great. You know, we have the people like Saul turns into a Paul.
I don't want to ever glorify anything in the past.
Right. No.
I'm ashamed of those things.
Sure. Yeah.
But I had flunked out of SFA, made straight F's and D's, and moved to Tyler and was managing a store in Tyler, clothing store. And there was a young woman that was working in the store. She was 16 years old. Her mother was dead, and her father was a raging alcoholic. And her name was Melinda, and she was a Young Life kid. And she would come to work. She worked part-time for me after school. And she would come to work and do her job. Everybody else that I hired were all stoners and slackers. But this girl was a Christian. And she would talk to me about Jesus. And I mean, it was annoying. I can remember telling her, Melinda, if you don't stop this Jesus stuff, I'm going to fire you. Do you understand me? And her bottom lip would quiver and she would cry. And I mean, there were times I just dog cussed this girl. Was horrible to her, mean to her. And she wouldn't quit. She just kept talking to me about the Lord. And one night I was in complete meltdown because I'd been stealing from the store and I was strung out on drugs and couldn't manage the business. And I called her and I said, could you meet me in the parking lot at Kmart there in Tyler? And I said, and explain this to me. And I said, is this stuff really true? You're not kidding me. It's really true. And she said, oh, it's absolutely true. And that night, she led me to the Lord. I went home. I had a Roy Tan cigar box full of drugs, and I went down to the back of my apartment and stood over this creek and threw those drugs in the creek. And I remember looking up to heaven, and I said, I don't really understand what I'm doing, but whatever it is, I'm all in. I'm all in. And I think that was my call to the ministry at that point. Okay. You know, when you just say to the Lord, I'm all in, he takes you